What's up guys, it's Chris here. In our last video we took you through our entire EasyEquities portfolio and exactly how much we made and lost in share price during the year. But in this video we're going to show you in detail a full breakdown of the passive income that we have made from EasyEquities this year in dividends and payments. And I can tell you that because of what we invested in this year, that number is in the 5 figures and is 170% higher than our income last year. But we'll get to that and show you the total Excel sheet in rands and cents by the end. This is my favorite video of the year, so let's get started. Welcome back to another video on Casual Cash, where we chat about everything related to finance, investing, and growing your personal wealth. So if you haven't subscribed already, please consider to do so. And if you want to click a like on this video as well, that would be great. But before we get down to the numbers, I just want to share something with you quickly. Because often investing can feel like a game of numbers on a screen, and it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day craziness of the markets that sometimes we forget what we're actually investing for. To each person watching it might be different, but for me the real reason I invest is to work towards improving life and choices for myself and the people around me. So what you're seeing right now is some footage from a trip we took this year to a place called God's Window in Mpumalanga, and this trip was paid for from the dividends we earned in our EasyEquities portfolio this year. So of course the scenery is beautiful here, but as the markets go up and down and our portfolios go from red to green and back again, I just wanted to share a bit of what we do this for, and maybe to help motivate someone watching this to keep going towards your goals, and I include myself in that category. So just FYI, this trip for 2 people, including fuel, accommodation and tourist attractions coming from Joburg, cost about 5,204 Rand and 30 cents. So that means we made at least that in dividends this year. But let's get going to see exactly what and how much that number is and what companies we use to get there. Let's start off with the smallest dividends and work our way over to the biggest payments this year. Keep in mind each dividend percentage is how much the company pays per year. So if it's 2%, then for every 100 Rand you will get paid 2 Rand a year, and every amount we are showing is after dividend tax, which can be up to 20%. First off, we have our index fund ETFs. This is our Satrix JSE Top 40, our core shares S&P 500 and the Signia FTSE 100. We started these 3 indexes at 0 Rand in January and have been investing 100 Rand each month since then. So we have invested 1,100 into each of these, and the dividends we have received are 6 Rand for the S&P 500, 9 Rand for the FTSE 100, and 20 Rand for the JSE Top 40 that had an abnormally high dividend in October. But keep in mind, we invested 100 Rand at a time, so the dividends are higher as time goes on and lower from the beginning. But overall, you can expect dividends of roughly 4.3% for the Satrix 40, 2.8% for the Signia FTSE 100, and about 1% for the core shares S&P 500. You can see the more popular economies tend to trade at a higher PE ratio and slightly lower dividends on their indexes. Then next we're going to look at some dividends from 2 other ETFs that we have since sold to place in other investments, but I might be looking to buy back into one of them next year. So first is the ESG 1200. This is the 1200 companies with the best environmental, social and governance ratings. We sold this for now, but we received 29 Rand dividends in January, and they usually pay about 1.3% a year. The other one we sold is the Vanguard S&P 500 Growth. This is slightly different to the normal S&P 500 because it's heavier on tech stocks. While tech stocks are on average down around 30% this year, we sold to improve our position on some other US stocks that are up as much as 8% so far. But this is the share I plan to start building a position in from 2023. I'll tell you the full reason in a later video, but we also made around 30 Rand this year, and usually they will pay out around 0.9% dividends. And on that note, some of the companies we bought when we sold the Vanguard are these 3 ETFs here. The Schwab US Dividend Equity, the JP Morgan Equity Premium Income, and the Global X Nasdaq 100 Call. All 3 of these are higher income dividend ETFs. We only started buying these in October, so they haven't paid dividends for the full year, but the Schwab pays dividends quarterly or every 3 months and pays about 3.4% dividends. So we have made 30 Rand on the Schwab ETF, The JP Morgan and the Global X ETFs, however, pay you dividends every single month. So for the JP Morgan ETF, it pays usually around 9.6%, and we made 45 Rand in the last couple months, and the Global X ETF pays usually around 12%, and we have made 59 Rand in the last couple of months. These three I'm going to slowly keep buying and dollar cost averaging by buying more every month and over time increase these incomes. Next, we're going to start getting bigger with the income we received from our banking shares in the year. But before we get there, I also just want to add that we've been buying two other banks in the United Kingdom portfolio, which are HSBC and Lloyds Bank. We've been buying them recently, so haven't received a dividend yet, but the dividend for HSBC is 4.4% and Lloyds is 4.7%. So we'll be receiving dividends for those in 2023. But for our SA banks, we're going to start with Capitec, where we received 3 dividends this year. The bank paid 2 normal dividends as well as a special dividend this year because of their high income from rising interest rates. Capitec has the lowest percentage of dividends, usually around 1.9%, because it has a higher PE ratio. Basically, it costs more because it's expected to grow at a higher rate, so dividends are less. Something else you will notice with all of our banking shares is that we dollar cost averaged over the year, meaning we bought small amounts of shares over many months, like this here. So the dividends won't be reflective of the full amount we have invested now, especially the dividends earlier in the year. But next year will of course be higher. So Capitec dividends were 58 Rand, but let's go a bit higher. The next 3 banks we only received 1 dividend from investing later in the year, so next year we can expect these dividends to perhaps roughly double. So Standard Bank, we received 128 Rand for 1 dividend, and their dividend payments are at 6% right now. Then Nedbank, we got paid 147 Rand for 1 dividend, and they are paying 7.3% dividends right now. And lastly is FirstRand Bank that, like Capitec, paid out an extra special dividend this year, which brought us in 208 Rand for 1 dividend, plus a special dividend. Then let's touch on our final 2 international share dividends. That is SSC in the UK, which is a renewable energy company doing solar, wind, and thermal, among others. We also only received 1 dividend investing later in the year for 160 Rand when converted from pounds. So next year there will be more income from this as they have already declared their next dividend, which is higher. But right now they're paying a nice 5.26% dividend. Then Simon Property Group. We will be receiving 100 Rand in a few days' time, but we've been upping our shares in this company this year with a larger 2,000 Rand investment recently. So at 6.2% dividends for a US company, it's great, and we'll see even more income from them in 2023. Next is Sanlam, and we received 208 Rand from them in 2022. Their share price has been struggling this year, but with a dividend of 6.87%, I'm deciding whether to buy more, but I need to do my research on the underlying fundamentals of the company first. In our tax-free savings account, we have some holdings in the Satrix Property ETF. These guys pay quarterly or every 3 months, which is quite nice. I bought middle of the year, so have received 2 payments for a total of 215 Rand. This is one I usually reinvest the dividends back into and have added extra shares during the year. Property is under strain with interest rates, but as the share price goes down, I add a bit more for the years to come when interest rates go down and this fund can perform better. Because right now the dividend payments on this ETF are a staggering 8.2%, which is awesome. Speaking of property, we also have Reitway Global Property ETF, which is a collection of property companies from around the world in an ETF. They have paid out 381 Rand this year, which is around 6%. Okay, we have to talk about this one because from here the dividends start going up a bit. This is Fairvest Limited, another property company. Honestly, the property companies have such good dividend value right now because they've been hit by both COVID and the recent interest rate hikes. Analysts anticipate interest rates to start lowering end of 2023 or early 2024. So if I can invest in them now and maybe take a bit of a burn in the share price, then when markets start reversing, I should be able to have shares at a good price that will grow and some high dividends. Who's to say what will happen, but right now Fairvest paid out 903 Rand this year and has dividends of 13.4%. I bought a bit extra shares in September here as well. Then lastly, for property, if you know this channel, this is one of my favorite companies, which is Storage. They rent out storage units, and you've probably seen the red buildings around. Their business is split between SA and the UK. I always buy more when they go down for the same property strategy I mentioned, but they have remained pretty solid compared to other companies with only 6% share price change, but with 8.7% dividends, which they pay and increase every year like clockwork. We received 1,052 Rand a year from this company alone, and we bought some extra shares recently, so that will go up. Now, these next three are the highest earners in our portfolio. The first two are unit trusts. Let's start with Coronation Strategic Income, a unit trust that pays around 6% dividends and pays you every 3 months. Just in this year, its dividend has increased from 289 Rand in April to 377 Rand in October. Now, we didn't invest early enough in the year to get January's dividend, so in future this should pay around 1,300 a year. Also, this is in our tax-free savings account, so no capital gains or dividend tax. The second unit trust is the Prescient Income Provider, probably one of our most popular shares or unit trusts because it pays you dividends every single month, just like a second income. It has also increased during the year from 118 Rand a month to even 150 Rand at times. So this unit trust paid us every single month this year for a total of 1,513 Rand. And next up is the highest paying dividend share in our portfolio. And it is, I'm sorry to say, the mystery share that paid out 4,497 Rand this year. Now, I read the comments and I know you would like to know, so if you're newer to the channel, this is a company that I own shares in, but that I also work with in the real world. So because it's a listed company, I can't give any information that is not within the public space, and I'd rather just be on the cautious side. Sorry about that, but I always say that as a good alternative is Fairvest. And these dividends are highest mostly just because of the larger amount invested of 33,000 Rand. If I invested that much in Fairvest, the amount of dividends would be similar. And that is it. Those are all of the dividend paying companies we invested in during 2022, and every single payment we received this year in rands and cents and percentages, so that you can consider it for your own passive income portfolio. But as we like to do here, let me show you the entire spreadsheet of every dividend as well as the total amount we made this year. Like I said, it's 5 figures and it is 170% higher than last year. So by last December, we made dividend income on EasyEquities of 3,998 Rand and 78 cents. And this year, from January to December, we made a dividend income total of 10,786 Rand and 38 cents. Right, here is the entire breakdown, so feel free if you would like to pause the video and look in detail. Like we said, many of these investments were made at the beginning, midway, or by the end of the year. So already next year, these dividends should be even higher, and we will continue to be making investments all through 2023, especially while the markets are down, and showing you each step of the way. Also, if you're interested, we made a total of 25,000 Rand in passive income this year, and we'll go through all of that in our later videos. So if you want to see what dividends we make next year and follow our portfolio, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to give it a like. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I reply to every single one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found it helpful. But until then, I'll see you next time, as always, on Casual Cash. Cheers.